Hello everyone, it's me, Malice Alice, and today we're going to do top 5 scary stories on TikTok. At the very end, I will be attaching a personal story of mine of a ghost story that really scared me. And if you guys want, please in the comment section below share some of your scary stories. Okay, without further ado, I'll let the videos play.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true. I'll go first. When I was 8 years old, my family and I moved to a small town in the Midwest, and it was a farm town. It was built in like the early 1800s. I think it was part of like the Homestead Act or something. And it was, had a bunch of acres, a barn that had burnt down. Like it was an active farm back then. Lots of history. People definitely passed away on the property, that we knew for sure. And man, it wasn't like very obvious as a child. I was super intuitive and I didn't know what to do with that intuition, so I naturally got a Ouija board. And of course, I dragged along my best friend and my sister and a couple other friends on this Ouija board journey where we would go and sit at the top of the stairs to the basement, and we would turn all the lights off and turn candles on and then ask this thing questions, and it responded. And I don't tell people the story, it sounds psycho. The fact that other people are there to verify all of these things and validate gives me inner peace, but I don't tell people. But it worked. And unlike what I thought would happen when it would move, even when we'd lift all of our hands off of it, it's still moving. Is how aggressively it moved. It wasn't gentle, it was like very sharp. And so much time would pass when we were in there talking to this entity as well. Like we would think 10 minutes went by and it would be 2 hours. Like insane. Being little kids, we wanted to know questions and answers like, who are we going to marry when we grow up? Or how many kids are we going to have? Or just questions like that. And every single time we start, it would give us answers at first, like, and it would tell us about itself. We would say like, what's your name? And it would just say demon, D-E-M-O-N, like over and over again. When we would ask questions about me, at first it would like give us answers, and then it would just spell bitch repeatedly, B-I-T-C-H, B-I-T-C-H, B-I-T-C-H. Horrifying. Like any question about me. Also, sorry if I seem lackluster, I already told this whole story and it deleted. It was so freaky. We're also having like visuals of like hands reaching towards the planchette, like in the candlelight flicker. This entity gave us details saying that it was like buried in the cemetery, a cemetery that was like local, like the name was legit. It gave us like, I think it either gave us a plot number or it was just like the last name, and we did go there, and what we found was crazy. Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely.
Every time I tell somebody this story, they have the most horrified look on their face. And when I tell you, I have tried to record this video 10 times, and either the audio wasn't working or TikTok wouldn't keep my recording. So let's hope this one works, and I'm going to tell you what happened to me in 2022. So this happened when my son was about 5 months old. Him and I were sharing a room. Now, let me say this first. He was sleeping 8 hours completely through the night. I was getting enough sleep. I was sleeping the best I've ever slept currently, and he's a toddler right now. So this is not sleep deprivation. I want to say that first and foremost. And there are other people who were involved, so let's get into it. I was about to go to sleep for the night, and I was scrolling on my phone, and I'm at my parents' house, by the way, at this point. So I roll over in my bed with my phone to face the direction of my bedroom door, which I had kept open before all of this happened. I hear somebody walking up the stairs, which I assume is my brother because he had lived there too at the time. But he stops at the top of the stairs and he kind of just like peeks into my room just a little bit, and I know it's him because it's like his face and his height and his hair. Like he had an afro at the time. That was the outline of my brother. And so I look at him and I'm like, what are you doing? And he doesn't answer me. He just keeps staring at me. And I say again, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you just staring at me? At this point, because it's dark, I could only see the outline of him, or it moves in front, like right center in my door, and it's just staring at me. And I look at him and I'm like, Sam, what do you need? This all happened in 0.0005 seconds, okay? So as soon as I realized that is not my brother, I sit up in bed, like jolt up in bed. And as I do that, I'm still staring directly at whatever it was. It just disintegrates like sand into the air. I don't know how else to explain it. I sound crazy, I know. Just sand, just disintegrates and disappears. I don't go to sleep that night. I'm wide awake, freaked the fuck out. But I don't say anything until the following week. So at this point, I shut my bedroom door because absolutely not. I'm about to go to bed again. I'm scrolling on my phone and I roll over once again to face the direction of the door. This time, in the pitch black, it's the outline of my son's father. And at first, I was like, why are you just standing there? Because he was living with us at the time. And then I realized in my brain, Theo's dad didn't spend the night that night. He's not supposed to be here. And how could he get in my house at 10 o'clock at night when everybody's asleep? It's the exact same thing. I grabbed my phone, I turned the flashlight on, but this time I saw like this, again, 0.005 seconds, just like this super pale face, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, but like this menacing feeling attached to it. And again, just like sand, gone. So at this point, I'm not a super religious person, but I feel like I needed some Jesus Christ in this moment. So I go to my parents, I tell them what's been going on. My parents were not a believer before this story. I've always had weird things happen to me throughout my life with paranormal stuff, and they just don't believe me. But I asked my mom to get one of her close friends, a close family friend, to come pray over my room because she's done that type of work for years. She goes and prays over people's houses who have spirits attached to them. So to her, it's just to like entertain me and make me feel safer. So the family friend comes over and she's like, I'm going to go pray over your room and see what's going on. And I was like, perf. She goes up there. She's up there for like an hour, for a very, very, very long time. But who am I to judge? I don't do seances. You know what I mean? I don't know. To sum it up with you, when she did come back downstairs, she talked to my mom for a bit and then she leaves. My mom told me that her friend told her that of all her years doing this, she's never walked into a room or a house and got instantly chills all over her body. And that's exactly what happened when she walked into my room. She said she prayed over it for that long amount of time. Whatever was there was gone. She rebuked it, I guess, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. But she said if it does come back, she like told me certain prayers to do to make it go away. My parents from that day forward are complete believers in the spiritual realm. I am as well. That was like so terrifying. I haven't seen it since. Please, Lord, that was the wrong hand, but you get it. Like, I don't want to see it ever again. But yeah, that's my terrifying story, and I don't have any explanations for it. I have so many other ones that also have witnesses to it, but this is already super long, so this is what I'm going to keep it as. But yeah, so that's my unbelievable ghost story.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true. I'll go.
So I have a story from when I was 17 years old that to this day is unsettling to me and scary, and I still don't even know what to make of it, to be honest. But when I was 17, my best friend at the time, Matt, wanted to go visit his brother in Mississippi. Matt's brother was stationed in Mississippi with the Navy, and he lived in this house with his girlfriend and this other guy who was a Navy SEAL. I never met him, but I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, so the whole plan was to go to Mississippi, hang out with Matt's brother, and then we were gonna go to New Orleans and go hang out on Bourbon Street and do all that. The drive was about 2 or 3 hours for me and Matt. So while we're driving there, Matt decides to tell me then, hey, by the way, my brother's house is haunted, ha 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 ha. They've been having some problems, you know, isn't that crazy? And I immediately got irritated that he didn't tell me that before. And if you guys don't know this about me, I grew up in a haunted house and my parents had to have priests come through and bless the home and all that. So there's history there for me, and it's just uncomfy to me. And I don't want to be around it. And that's it. So we end up getting there. I meet Matt's brother and his brother's girlfriend, and they're super cool, and we're all talking, hanging out. They're telling us about, you know, what's been going on and all that stuff, and it was getting really bad for them. But they end up telling us a story about what happened in that house. And the story is really sad because it was a mother and her son, and the son was playing in the driveway and he ran into the street and got hit by a car and passed away. And the mother, being depressed, on the ceiling fan in the living room. Guess where me and Matt were sleeping? In the living room underneath the ceiling fan. And yeah, so first night, Matt decides to get really drunk and everyone else goes to sleep. It's midnight, Matt blacks out and he's dead asleep. And I'm laying on the floor in the living room next to Matt. We had blankets and pillows, and we had a big flat screen TV in front of us, and I put on Something Happy, and I put on the movie Jackass. And I'm sitting there and I'm slowly nodding off. And do you know when you're sitting at night in front of a TV screen and you can kind of see the light flashing over your eyelids? You can like see the screen almost. So yeah, I was seeing that. So as I'm falling asleep, I start feeling footsteps pressing into the carpet around my body. And I thought it was maybe Matt. So I turn and look, and Matt's sleeping. So it wasn't Matt. And the footsteps keep walking around my body, especially around my face. I feel the carpet pressing in around me. And my body goes into this state of fear. I was like frozen. I felt paralyzed and I didn't know what to do. And next thing you know, the screen in front of me goes black and I can hear Jackass playing, but it's just black, and I feel a heavy presence standing over me, and it felt like there was somebody standing over me, which is so unsettling to think about. And I start praying. That's like the only thing I feel like I was able to do. I just started like praying, like, God, protect me, like put a veil over me. I don't want to see this, like, please go away. I didn't know what to do, and I end up falling asleep. Don't know how, but I did. And yeah, we wake up. I told them what happened. They're like, oh yeah, that's, she walks through the hallway, she walks through the living room. And I was like, okay, that's creepy. So fast forward to the middle of the day. Matt's brother and his girlfriend, they go to work, and me and Matt are just hanging out at the house. We're in a good mood. We're not even thinking about anything, and we're sitting in the kitchen. So we're sitting in this round table in the back. So basically I'm sitting here and Matt is you. And behind me is a doorway, like a little bit further back behind me. And it goes to like the front door and then the hallway down to the bedrooms and then the living room. So me and Matt are eating boiled peanuts, talking, laughing. I have photos from this day, and we are in a great mood. And Matt looks right past me and he goes, I'll name Matt's brother's girlfriend, Sarah. He goes, Sarah. And I'm like, Matt, Sarah's not here. And he goes, Sarah. And I was like, Matt, Sarah's not here. And then the door slams at the end of the hallway. And me and Matt spring up without saying a word to each other and haul ass out of that house. I've never ran so fast in my life, like genuinely. Like, we sat outside of that house until his brother and his brother's girlfriend came back. And we did not go back in until they came back, and we told them what happened. And they said, like, it's normal, it's been happening, and it's creepy. So that's pretty much all we experienced, at least that I can remember. And fast forward to what I heard is that Matt's brother and his girlfriend at that time, they ended up having to move out of that house. The Navy had to move homes for them, because it got really aggressive, and whatever they were dealing with in there did not want them there. And yeah, that was not Sarah, and it was really unsettling for me. And yeah, to this day, I don't really know how to explain it, but I thought it was really creepy.
I decided to share one of mine. So I worked at a bar. We had this guy that was from Nigeria come in, and he liked this girl that was from Chile. And I saw him in the corner of the bar, and he was writing scrolls. And I don't know what he wrote on the scrolls. Like, he was taking the napkins and like writing little messages on there. And I noticed, like, in the corner, he was like chanting something, but I couldn't make out what he was saying. Because keep in mind, the bar is really loud because, it's a sports bar. There's a lot of things going on, like ambient noise. So he's chanting, and he's taking the little pieces of paper and like rolling them up, and his eyes are rolling in the back of his head, right? So I'm like, is he having a seizure? But you ever get that gut feeling that you shouldn't like interject when somebody's doing something? So I decided to just mind my business and keep myself at a distance. And so he's doing that, and I noticed he pulls something out of his pocket. It's like a necklace, and he chants over it, and his eyes are still rolling in the back of his head, and he has like a tight grasp on it. So he leaves the corner, And I noticed like the girl from Chile was behind the bar, and or the other section of the bar, and comes up to her. He said something. I could tell it was something sweet, and she smiles, and he puts this necklace around her neck, and then he leaves. So I am Jamaican, and I grew up, hearing stories about like many witches, and yeah. And when I say witches, I mean the malicious witches, and also people who practice dark magic and that have malicious intent. And something within me told me to tell the girl, "Hey, you don't want that necklace." And I'm going to explain why. So I walk up to her. I said, I feel compelled to say this to you, but something about that necklace that man gave you it wasn't pure. I think he cast the love spell, and he wanted you to pretty much essentially fall in love or fall in lust and have some kind of control over you, because he just couldn't, like, I heard him talk about this girl like relentlessly at the bar, and it was just not healthy. And when I saw him cast that spell, I knew something was up. So I told her, like, when you get home or you get a chance, you need to burn that necklace, because he did something funky to it. And I watched him do it. I said, even he did it under the cameras at the bar. And I said, if y'all don't believe me, go and watch what he did on the cameras. And you'll see that this man was like in a trance, like casting a spell or summoning some kind of entity. I don't know. So she looks at me and she says, oh yeah, you're Jamaican. Your family's from Jamaica, so you know about that stuff. And I kind of took offense to that, but I kind of like let it roll off my shoulder, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. And I was like, it's not that my family's from Jamaica that I know about it. I just know about it. So she said that she was going to take it home. She took off the necklace and put it in her pocket, and she's going to burn it. So she and I, and it was a couple of other women, we went down into the basement of the bar, because we had, like, the basement was actually like a dressing room where like the waitresses would get dressed, and all the other people that work there would have like lockers. So we go down to the basement, and I remember the lights started flickering, and when me and her were down there, it just got really cold. Keep in mind, this was like May. It was no reason for it to be this cold. We were down there, and it got so cold that I can't make this up, that we started to see our breath, and we ran upstairs out of that basement. And she said, what the F? What did he do? I'm like, girl, he cast the spells. He cast something I knew he did. And the thing about this guy, he is related to someone in the area that did like special events for like Nigerian like African Heritage Month or something along the lines of that. So I won't be saying his name because it's just not important. But yeah, ultimately what I'm saying is, if a stranger gives you something like that, especially if they really fancy you, please be careful of what you accept as a gift. All right, guys, I am Malice Alice. I have plenty more scary stories, and let me know in the comment section below if you want to hear more.